Our edge effect interpretation. From the data we collected, it shows varying species counts between the blue plot and the wild plot. The edge effects are evident in how species distributions differ in plots closer to anthropogenic disturbances like the blue plot versus more natural areas like our wild plot. In plants, higher counts of invasive or human-tolerant species such as the red and white mums are observed in the blue plot. Native species like thread moss and spindles are more prevalent in the wild plot, suggesting that the edge effect favors non-native or opportunistic species in disturbed areas. In birds, species like the cardinal and crow, which adapt well to human-altered environments, are seen more frequently in the wild plot, while edge species like geese and blue jay are exclusively in the blue plot. Our invasive species presence are plants like the mums, which we know are not invasive, but they also are not native. They're more ornamental plants. Had a high count in the blue plot, and a honeysuckle had 100 individuals exclusively in the wild plot. These may represent invasive species depending on the regional ecology. Their dominance suggests invasive potential as they crowd out native vegetation. For our meta-population viability analysis, the total species abundance across the 2-acre plots indicate which species are thriving or struggling. Birds like the cardinal and crow are more distributed but may face long-term viability issues if reliant on one specific habitat type. Plants like honeysuckle dominate the wild plot, which can affect the native biodiversity balance. Averages for species viability may require connectivity between plots as higher dispersal, like the cardinal for the bird and coneflower for plants, improves resilience, while isolated species face higher extinction risk. For conservation concerns, species with low counts like the hawk pigeon and dragonhead may require targeted conservation to ensure metapopulation stability. Honeysuckles need management due to its possible suppression of native plants like the thread moss and coneflower.
Our recovery plan focuses on restoring native biodiversity, managing invasive species, and improving habitat connectivity across the 2-acre blue and wild plots to promote ecological balance and long-term resilience. We will reintroduce native plants like the thread moss, bladdernut, and spindles in the blue plot, where they are underrepresented. Seeds and saplings will be sourced locally to ensure genetic compatibility. Soil health will be enhanced using organic compost to address any nutrient deficiencies, and mulch will be applied to retain moisture and suppress invasive growth. To support wildlife, we'll add features like nesting boxes and small water sources in the blue plot for species like robins and hawks, while the wild plot will include brush piles and ground shelters for birds like cardinals and small animals. Invasive species such as honeysuckle in the wild plot and mums in the blue plot are dominating native vegetation. These species will be removed manually or, if needed, with selective herbicides that minimize harm to nearby native plants. Following removal, native plants will be reintroduced immediately to prevent recolonization. Routine monitoring will ensure early detection of invasive species, and community volunteers will be trained to assist in identification and management. To increase species movement and genetic flow, we will create ecological corridors or stepping stones between the blue and wild plots. These will help wildlife like cardinals and crows disperse more effectively and maintain population stability. Regular biodiversity surveys will track changes in plant and bird populations, guiding adjustments to the plan as needing. By combining habitat restoration, invasive species control, and connectivity improvements, this plan aims to create a thriving, sustainable ecosystem in both plots.